Yeah, so my name is James Cobb. Alias is Hazed, Hazed. Play for team NRG. I am 32 and I was born in Freeport, Texas. How I got into gaming was mainly through my cousin Jason, who he's a nerd like me, and he had a bunch of computers, and I grew up playing like Quake and Doom and all those games. He'd hold LAN parties, and then he also introduced me to Counter-Strike, which is where I started playing competitively. That was about 2003, 2004. It fell into place. Like, I was just playing in a pug server and someone wanted to make a team. They thought I was good, and they told me about this league called Cal League, and I didn't know what it was. And yeah, I said I'm down. You know, I was a young kid and I like competition. I always played sports. So I was like, this sounds fun. Let's give it a try. And it kind of just took off from there. My cousin had a house that was about 10-15 minute drive away. Yeah, and my you know, I'm the youngest in my family, so I have two older brothers, and they were both gamers as well. So they would basically drag me along for these events. And yeah, I was always the kid who sucked at every game and they'd pick on, but joke's on them now. My brothers have always been the people that have spurred me on as a competitor, because as the baby in a family, having two older, brothers, everything's a competition in our family. So I think it's that way with any sibling. It always turns into a competition. So yeah, I think that's where my competitive drive comes from. I'm always trying to like prove myself that I'm better than them. But in terms of like, the games that I played professionally, they never really played them. So yeah, I think that was me kind of going in my own direction. When I was about 13 or 14, like I'd mentioned, I just found the leagues, and then I kind of fell into a team, or about 2 years later, I would say, into a team that we just happened to win a lot of stuff. I was on a team with players that were way better than me. And that's when I started taking it more seriously, I would say, because we got moved up, competition got stiffer, there was like practice schedules. That, and also at the time, the team I was on, they wanted to go to LAN tournaments. So they actually road tripped down to Texas to go to a LAN in Dallas, and they picked me up. I had a teammate who lived in Houston. And so that was when I was 16. And that was when I got the first taste of like what real competition's like, world-class competition. And I think that is really when it set in. I was like, wow, this is crazy. This is something I want to do. It was just seeing not only players, but teams that were just so like well coordinated. Their mechanics were good, how serious they took it. And it felt like the environment was just different. When you're online playing by yourself, even when you're playing with a team online, it doesn't really get like hype. It's just very relaxed, you're like, yeah, nice round, that was sick. But when you're on LAN and you can see the person you're playing with and also see the people you're playing against and see the emotions, and it just kind of like, it's just a different feel, it's a different vibe. And it makes it feel like it's a real competition. So yeah, it's something about it being in person, just like, the first LAN you experience as an actual competitor it's like, it sounds cliche to say life-changing, but it kind of is. It was in Dallas. I want to say the tournament was WSVG Summer 2006, but I don't remember exactly where in Dallas. It was a long time ago. So, but yeah, I was in high school. I had to take to enter, you have to have an ID. At the time, I didn't even have an ID, so I had to bring my birth certificate to Dallas just to enter. Yeah, it was wild. That was the first time. Yeah, WSVG Dallas 2006. That's when it hit me. Beforehand, I would play other games. I'd be like, I don't really feel like playing Counter-Strike, so I'd go play other games. And at that point, I kind of realized I need to play Counter-Strike more. I really need to focus because I want to be one of these teams that wins. I want to be on stage. I want to, have the name recognition. And to be fair, it lasted a little bit, but after a while, because esports back then wasn't very big, so I kind of lost sight of that, and I moved on and did other things because I was very young and I wasn't truly focused, but I still liked competing, so I'd do it every once in a while. But man, I'm just thinking back on the tournament. That was crazy. I'm like having this crazy nostalgia moment thinking about that tournament, like being in the LAN, and just I got to meet pro players that I'd idolized online. Fisker was there. AHL, they're all on this team called SK. I probably just said hi, and then that was it. You know, I was a kid. You had to play a group stage, I think, at the start. We made it through groups, which was pretty unexpected, honestly, for a team that we were pretty much a no-name team at the time. Yeah, that was my first time really traveling on my own. It is my first time traveling on my own. And it was with people I met online. They came and picked me up. So my parents were super sketched about it. They were like, I don't think this is a good idea. I was like, Mom, trust me. I've known them for like 3 years. It's fine. 2 years, something like that. And I mean, it turned out all right. They're good people. You know, I miss them. I haven't talked to them in a long time, but yeah, it was interesting. It was a good life experience. So when I finally made the leap to pro, I was working for a company called TV Graphics. We made sports bugs for like live sporting events you see on TV. And I was doing that for 2 or so years, and then on the side, when I'd go home, I would play Counter-Strike. So my schedule for like 2 years was sleep 8 hours, go to work for 8 hours, and then go home and play for 8 hours. And that was literally my whole schedule for 2 years. I was just super focused on doing that. And that was when CSGO had just basically came out. I got really good, and all of my buddies that I knew from the previous version of Counter-Strike were playing competitively. And I was hanging out with them every day. And one of them noticed I was actually getting really good at Counter-Strike Go. And he was like, yo, you should try out for our team. And then we played, and we happened to scrim against our really good friends, the guys I hang out with all the time, who were also on a team. And I did really well. And they just messaged me in the middle of the scrim. They're like, why don't you just try out for us? Just play for us. And I'm like, yeah, I would if you would invite me. And they were like, yeah, come on. And so after that scrim, I left. I went and joined them. And then I basically went from not playing competitive at all for about 2 years to instantly playing in the top league, which was called Invite at the time. At that time, I was 23. Living at home with my parents, just working, and that was it. Working and playing Counter-Strike. That's all I did. And then we did really well for about 6 months. And then we got an org who approached us about picking us up, paying us, you know, some money. Not a lot, not livable at all. When I'd say I finally made it was when I got signed to Counter Logic Gaming. Yeah. When we got signed to them, that was like a holy shit moment. That was about 6 months after I quit my job, I'd say. Yeah, it was January of 2015. In December of 2014, we qualified for our first really big LAN. So that was big for us. It was MLG X Games Aspen. And we got signed by CLG the next month, and then we went to the tournament under them. And that was a big deal, at least for me. I don't know about the rest of my team, but for me, that was like yeah, I'm a pro now. I'm an actual pro.